Grand Rising, and welcome to another segment of CLG Viewpoint. I'm Cindy Lorraine Grais, and it's such an honor to have you here with me today. Well, today's Friday, the end of the week, June the 13th, 2025, and in the Kingdom of Canada, it is under natural law, it is Divina Anima, day 18, year 0035. Each segment, I start with a sage clearing. And for some of you that aren't familiar with this process, it's a way of clearing all the low energy negative entities from our space. I like the smell of the sage. To all low energy entities, you are sent back to your perfect place. Only divine love and divine light is welcome here. And so it is. Today we will be covering under Health Sense Crystal Bowl Healing. International news, Imperialists try to break up Sahel confederation. African leader. Local news, CTV National news, Saskatchewan Premier under fire over handling of wildfires. Cops rush into burning Surrey home to rescue seniors. Arson suspected. Significant Hells Angels present. Expected in Metro Vancouver, police warned. 2 men fined $40,000 for illegal prawn fishing off Ladysmith Harbor. And a number of BC's largest communities are mounting a push to see housing declared a human right. Now, on to the video.
Every sound has a vibration, and the most balancing for ourselves is our own sound. So if we use the crystal bowl as a tuner to attune ourselves to the sound, the vibration of our own sound goes through our body and resets, rebalances, and realigns. So if you listen to this sound, and you can just hum, just a simple hum. You can make a variation. Whatever feels intuitively right for you, but your own sound is the most healing for your own body.
That sure sounds beautiful and relaxing. Now, on to international news. Imperialists try to break up Sahel confederation, African leader. Sputnik News, June 11, 2025. The push to destabilize the alliance is fueled by foreign powers' interests in the region's vast natural wealth. Burkina Faso's president has said, Burkina Faso's interim president, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, has accused foreign powers of attempting to sabotage the Alliance of Sahel States, AES, by pressuring member countries to betray the others. Speaking during a national flag-raising ceremony on Monday, the leader claimed the AES remains a source of concern for imperialist actors, the Burkina Faso Information Agency reported. We are approached every day by imperialists who want to force one of the 3 states to betray the others, Traoré said. We've been dealing with this for a long time. Each time it's a maneuver to convince a state to leave the confederation. And this should make us think, he added. The AES was formally established in September of 2023 by Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger as a mutual defense and cooperation pact following the expulsion of French troops from the respective members. The 3 military-led states have since withdrawn from the West African Bloc, ECOWAS, denouncing it as a tool for French neocolonial influence and a threat to their sovereignty. The AES has positioned itself as a counterweight to Western influence in the Sahel region, particularly France's post-colonial footprint. The group has also suspended military ties with former European partners, pivoting instead toward increased cooperation with Russia and other non-Western allies. In recent weeks, officials in Ouagadougou and Niamey have also accused France and Ukraine of sponsoring terrorism to weaken the Sahel military governments. Late last month, Niger's transitional leader, General Abdurrahman Chiani, accused French operatives of collaborating with rebel factions along regions in the neighboring Benin and Nigeria as part of a coordinated plot to destabilize his country and the wider Sahel. Ukraine has also been implicated for allegedly doing the dirty work of Western powers by training and supplying weapons to insurgents behind more than a decade of jihadist violence in Mali. On Monday, Burkinabe President Traoré warned that the Western's efforts to destabilize the region are driven by a hunger for the Sahel's vast and untapped natural wealth. We must be fully aware of this and continue to fight. We must not feel sorry for ourselves, he said. My personal thoughts. There are no wars in the Kingdom of Canada and around the world. Under natural law, we have peace. For more information, you can find that at thekingdomofcanada.ca. Thekingdomofcanada.ca. And now on to local news. Saskatchewan Premier under fire over handling of wildfires. Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe is facing accusations of not doing enough to ensure wildfire evacuees had access to their basic needs. By Alison Bamford explains. And on to the video.
The province's inability to provide basic needs like food and safe shelter to some evacuees has forced the Premier to acknowledge the shortfalls and act.
There are bottlenecks in the systems that we have to support those families and to support Saskatchewan evacuees. We pushed ourselves and pushed the Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency and pushed the government of Saskatchewan proper to address those concerns.
More staff have been added to the call line to ensure evacuees looking for support get a call back. New today, the province says it will be giving $500 additional to every northern evacuee dispersed through local governments. Just yesterday, Saskatchewan's ombudsman ordered an investigation into the province's response.
It's unprecedented for us not to have a more responsive response when we say we've got a problem and people need to be fed.
One woman we spoke to evacuated 2 weeks ago. She says she's still waiting for financial assistance from the Public Safety Agency.
With the last big evacuation of over 17,000 people, there had to have been issues and road bumps that policy should have been changed.
10 years ago, more than 17,000 people were evacuated from northern Saskatchewan. The Premier says there were capacity issues then, but most went to congregate evacuation shelters. This time around, many more are staying with family or in hotels and Airbnbs across the province, a factor that will be considered when the government reviews its policy in the future.
My personal thoughts. I do agree. There should be an investigation. Actually, a full forensic audit of Premier Scott Moe's decision-making process on ensuring the safety of the people of the province of Saskatchewan. In regards to the recent fires and the evacuees, they have not been taken care of properly. Under natural law, you can find further information on the decrees, and that again is at thekingdomofcanada.ca. Yes, thekingdomofcanada.ca. Now on to cops rush into burning Surrey home to rescue seniors. Arson suspected Global News, written by Simon Little, June 11th, 2025. A pair of Surrey police officers had to break their way into a flaming home to save a pair of senior residents from what investigators believe was a suspicious fire early Wednesday morning. Neighbor Danny Singh told Global News his daughter woke up about the fire on 135 Street near 64th Avenue shortly before 2 a.m. and that he called 911. It was getting wild. So lucky it didn't spread, he said, adding that he saw a vehicle on fire in front of the home. It was like a big bomb. Boom, 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 he said. 2 officers arrived at the home to find 2 vehicles fully engulfed and the front of the home burning vigorously. Surrey Police Services Staff Sergeant Lindsay Houghton told Global News. After evacuating 6 residents from a basement suite, officers learned there were still 2 seniors upstairs. Houghton said they had to smash their way through a glass panel on the back door and crawl in to gain entry. They described seeing flames through the front of the house, that orange glow, and you could hear the fire and literally ran through the home looking room to room. Houghton said Surrey Fire Service told him that a minute later the home would have been fully engulfed. Police were able to escort 1 resident out, but had to carry the other to safety. 8 people were evacuated from the home in total. All of them were treated for smoke inhalation, but no one suffered serious injuries. Credit for 911, they came right away, banged on the door, got the people out, Singh said. Everything went good. Nobody died. That's good. Houghton said police are investigating the fire as a potential targeted arson. He said 2 people, possibly men, were seen out front of the house shortly before the vehicles burst into flame. 2 dark sedans were also seen leaving the area around the time of the fire. Investigators want to speak with anyone who witnessed a fire or has a video shot in the area around 1:45 a.m. In the meantime, Houghton is praising the officers for their bravery. Had the fire been hotter and bigger, officers could be seriously injured or worse, he said. I can tell you it is harrowing. Yes, harrowing. As soon as you can find out there are potentially people inside, your instincts kick in. There is really no training they give us. We have no fire protective gear. You have to rush in. And the protection of life becomes a primary goal. Now on to the video courtesy of Global News.
Flames shoot from the front of a home in Surrey around 1:30 in the morning. 8 people are inside. Officers arrive first and rush in.
Well, it was getting wild. Yeah, so lucky it didn't spread in the house, you know. And it was like every time there was like a big bomb, boom, 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 you know. And about 8 or 9 times.
6 of the residents were able to get out, but an elderly couple, the homeowners in their 80s, needed the 2 responding Surrey Police Service officers' help in fleeing the flames.
They ran around back and they were trying to get through a back door. The door was locked and they were essentially trying to kick and smash their way in. They managed to smash a glass panel in one of the doors and essentially crawl in hands and feet through this broken glass and managed to rescue both elderly residents, including being able to carry one out despite the house increasingly on fire and being filled with smoke.
Thanks to the officers' quick thinking, everyone got out and received treatment for smoke inhalation on scene. The family tells us the elderly female is in hospital as a precaution.
We spoke with the renter who didn't want to go on camera, but he told us that he heard a noise and thought maybe one of the senior residents had fallen. So he came up to see, and when he did, he discovered the fire here on the driveway, and that's when he called for help.
Police say 2 vehicles are on fire as well as the front of the home. The homeowners have lived here for almost 40 years. The family says they've had a vehicle broken into more recently but haven't experienced anything like this. Police say the fire is believed to be suspicious and targeted. They add 2 suspects were seen at the home and shortly after there was fire. 2 dark-colored sedans were seen leaving the area. Police are looking for witnesses or video. As for the 2 officers, they're on days off.
Your instincts kick in. There really is no training that they give us. We have no fire protective gear. You have to rush in and the protection of life becomes the primary goal for us.
Jennifer Palma, Global News.
A huge thanks to the police officers for saving all those lives. Thank you so much. Now, who are starting these fires? A full task force is needed under natural law in the Kingdom of Canada for the well-being and safety of all people in our communities. More information can be found at thekingdomofcanada.ca. thekingdomofcanada.ca. Significant Hell's Angels presence. Expected in Metro Vancouver, police warn. Written by Lisa Stacy. Published June 11, 2025. Hundreds of outlaw motorcycles are expected to gather in Metro Vancouver this weekend, prompting a warning from police. The group of Hell's Angels is set to ride in a procession from Coquitlam to a banquet hall in Surrey on Thursday, beginning at 11:30 a.m. According to authorities, drivers are being warned to expect delays along the route as well as an increased police presence. The Surrey Police Service, as well as the police from neighboring jurisdictions, will be monitoring a very large Hell's Angels motorcycle procession that is expected to draw over 700 motorcyclists. A statement from the department said, adding that a significant presence of bikers is expected to last through Sunday. SPS will have additional officers working through the weekend, with special attention paid to restaurants and bars throughout Surrey to prevent any gang-related incidences, the statement concluded. My personal thoughts. Definitely additional police officers are needed to make sure all goes well and to ensure the utmost safety for the people of Surrey. 2 men fined $40,000 for illegal prawn fishing off Ladysmith Harbor. Check News, written by Adam Chan. June 11, 2025. 2 men were fined more than $40,000 combined for illegal prawn fishing off Vancouver Island roughly 3 years ago. On May 30, 2022, Fisheries and Oceans Canada received a report of a fishing vessel harvesting prawns in several closed areas off southern Vancouver Island. Roughly 3 years later, on April 29, 2025, 2 men were found guilty in Nanaimo Provincial Court of illegally fishing in closed areas over a span of several days. The DFO says Scott Castle was found guilty of remotely directing a shipmaster to illegally fish in a closed area of Stewart Channel near Ladysmith. He was also convicted of illegally selling prawns in a closed area and not completing mandatory fish slips, which are records of harvesting efforts and catches. In total, Castle was fined $30,000 for the license violations and for fishing during a closed time. He was also fined another $8,228 from the proceeds of the sale of the illegally caught prawns, according to the DFO. Meanwhile, vessel master Terry Lorenz, who was working for Castle, was found guilty of the same offenses and faced a smaller fine and fishing ban. He was fined $3,000, banned from fishing for 5 years, according to the DFO. That's 5 years. Fisheries and Oceans Canada says that fishing during a closed season harms British Columbia on multiple fronts, from recreational to professional to environmental. Excessive and illegal harvesting undermines these economic benefits, harming not only harvesters and communities, but also recreational anglers and Indigenous peoples who rely on prawn as a vital food source, said the DFO in a release Wednesday. Excessive and illegal harvesting also poses a serious threat to conservation efforts. The DFO notes that all prawns are born male and do not transition to female until after 2.5 to 3 years of life after they mate. Females then spawn between January and April each year before dying a few weeks after. Fishing in a closed area depletes the population of female prawns needed for reproduction. Retaining undersized prawns prevents smaller males from mating and reaching maturity, said the DFO. My personal thoughts. It's my understanding that in the Kingdom of Canada, under natural law, there is a law, quote, decree, that does mention that Canadian nationalists can fish for prawns for free and be able to sell prawns to support their families. Why is the DFO not following natural law? For further information on natural law, again, can be found at thekingdomofcanada.ca, thekingdomofcanada.ca. Growing chorus of BC municipalities want housing declared a human right. Nanaimo joins others, including Vancouver, Langford, and Langley, in advocating for provincial recognition. Ladysmith Chemainus Chronicle, written by Jessica Darling, June 11, 2025. A number of BC's largest communities are mounting a push to see housing declared a human right. On Monday, Nanaimo Council joined a growing number of municipalities that have passed motions calling on the province to enshrine housing as a human right in legislation. We would be co-sponsoring this resolution at the next Union of BC Municipalities Convention in the fall, where delegates will vote on whether UBCM should advocate for this on behalf of BC municipalities. Nanaimo Council Hillary Eastmuir explained. The same motion already passed unanimously in other cities, including Vancouver and Langford. The resolution states that recognizing housing as a human right fundamentally shifts government motivations by adding critical urgency and responsibility to ensure access to affordable housing, meaning housing costs are aligned with income, through policies that prevent homelessness, address the escalating housing and homelessness crisis, eliminate discrimination, and prioritize the needs of vulnerable and marginalized populations. On the same night the motion passed in Nanaimo, it was brought to councils in Langley, Richmond, Saanich, and North Vancouver. The goal of this resolution is to send a powerful message to the province that they need to step up and recognize housing as a human right, said Saanich Council Teal Phelps Bondaroff ahead of that city's council meeting on Monday. The goal here is to have a multitude of voices from different types of municipalities from across the province, all arriving at UBCM, speaking as one. During Nanaimo City's Council's meeting, Eastmuir said Nanaimo has a disproportionate number of unhoused residents without access to overnight shelter beds, let alone housing with dignity. A staff report brought before Governance and Priorities Committee in May tallied 621 people experiencing homelessness, a figure that climbed from 515 people in the previous year's count. This is not just about homelessness, which is certainly a crisis. Eastmuir said it's also about the untenable number of people paying more than 30% of their income to keep a roof over their heads. The many seniors, students, singles, and families are afraid of having to move because rent prices have gone up so much. The 2024 State of Nanaimo Economy Report stated that Nanaimo's estimated per capita income was $42,000 per year. It noted that the average vacancy rate for rental apartments in Nanaimo saw a slight increase from 2.2% in 2022 to 2.7% in 2023, while affordability for rental units continued to erode. In 2023, the average rent for a two-bedroom apartment rose by 9% to an average of $1,681 in Nanaimo. East Muir shared her own experience, saying that last year while apartment hunting, she was told by a number of corporate rentals that have been sitting empty for months. Empty. Not to even bother applying because the $1,800 rent represented more than 30% of her income. At the same time, we have corporate landlords and developers bragging that their rents don't and won't exceed 30% of people's income. But that's because they simply won't rent to anyone whose income doesn't meet that threshold. And there's a lot of folks making around what I make as a city councillor, he said. The resolution will be discussed at a 2025 Union BC Municipalities Annual General Meeting set to take place September 22nd to 26th in Victoria, BC. My personal thoughts. In the Kingdom of Canada, under natural law, all Canadian nationalists are to have a home. It is illegal to have homelessness in Canada. There is a program called I Am Cured program that is defined in detail on a holistic approach to help drug addicts get off drugs and then get them into a home. All information can be found on the website, again, at thekingdomofcanada.ca. Yes, thekingdomofcanada.ca. For the last week, every day, I've been traveling through Nanaimo, and there's so many people addicted and sleeping on the sidewalks. Help needs to come immediately. And this is just Nanaimo. It's all over, city and towns. And so it is. I am Cindy Lorraine Grais. And I am so thankful that you came here and honored from the bottom of my heart. If you feel compelled to, please share this forum with others. I have put together a short video, Dolores Cannon and her beautiful quotes. Enjoy, have a truly wonderful day, and see you next time on CLG Viewpoint. Enjoy.